You better be ready to be nuck if you buck. Oh, shit.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, man.
Come out with straight fatigues on. War. Buddy.
We on or what? We good?
Yeah, whatever you guys want.
All right. What up? Follow D Money. All roads lead to the Round Table recording studio in Broad Ripple. Today, my distinguished guest is an NBA veteran, financial advisor, a coach, and a friend of mine, Mr. Eddie Gill.
My man. What up, coach?
What up, coach?
They don't know nothing about that.
Nah. What you been up to, man?
Maintaining, man. Maintaining. Obviously, it's a chaotic time right now in this world.
Yep.
Everybody blaming it on 2020, but man, this is what it is.
Right.
This is what it is. Outside of the pandemic, this is what it's been.
2020, I think, exposed a lot of stuff.
No question.
It brought a lot of stuff to the forefront.
No question.
So how you dealing with all the restrictions, all the things you can't do during the pandemic? How you deal with everyday life?
I will say it's tough. It's frustrating, disappointing. You don't really go out to eat like you would. You don't go on vacation like you would. Don't go hang out with your friends like you would. You and I were just kind of laughing and joking about that. Once it's over, we're gonna go have a party.
Right.
You know what I mean? Those are types of things that we've had to sacrifice. But I keep trying to tell myself people have sacrificed far more
Right.
prior to me.
Yeah.
To be able to just survive and live in this country. So, I keep telling myself that, keep trying to tell my family that, and it's difficult. Obviously, we've all become accustomed to some of these luxuries that we've had, just like going out and going to, like you said, going to a restaurant, and that seems to be like taboo right now. That's like if you going out to eat, what?
Yeah, you selfish,
right? Yeah. So, but having said that, I do recognize that there's certain things that we got to do to try to get past this, and trying to limit those type of exposure, or that type of exposure at a regular level is just not to be right now.
Yeah, you got to get a hold of it.
Yeah.
I mean, if you were in charge, do you think you have a way you can, what would your plan be to get rid of the coronavirus? What would President Eddie Gill say? We're trying to get rid of it, Eddie. What would you do?
Man, I'm gonna tell you what. I'm gonna look to Fauci. Say, what would you do? That's not where I specialize. I'm not dealing with science and medicine and kind of what steps we should take. Make sure I got a comparable team around me, a competent team around me.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to trust them. So if it were up to me, I'll put it in the hands of the experts and follow their lead.
All right. So it's election season. I'm sure you voted. I saw you voted.
Absolutely.
Took the whole fam out.
Yeah, man.
I saw that.
It was legendary.
So when it comes to making a decision like that, this was a huge election season, I would say. Mm-hmm. Probably the biggest in my life. I'm sure in yours as well.
Absolutely.
What were some of the factors that went into why it was so important to vote and whoever you voted for? What were some of the things that made you feel the need to go out and vote?
Yeah, I mean, this was one of the easiest ones for me in terms of why the urgency was there. Right. Number one, I think about my kids. My son is 20. My daughter's 18. They just voted in their very first election, so that was big time. I told them this is a legendary day.
That's a proud moment.
Oh my gosh, I'll never forget it.
Yeah, right.
I'll never forget it.
Yeah.
So regardless of who the candidates were and what was going on in the world, it was going to be a big opportunity for them. I wanted to make sure that they were involved in. They were definitely fired up about it. But in terms of just what made me want to go out there and do it, it's just it's really our first line of fundamental defense of each other,
right.
and what we deem important.
I would say voting is the most legal way of speaking out.
Absolutely.
If you have a voice and you want to use it, voting is the way that you do it.
Yeah, that's definitely something that you can do, and on all levels. A lot of times when you think of election, you think of only the presidential election, which obviously is a very important one. But to really make some meaningful change or get people in office that you want to, make a difference, you got to make sure you're doing it on local, state levels, and not only just the federal level, because that's the big piece of it is being able to get those those votes out there to really have your voice heard, and then ultimately go do, put your feet on the ground and go do stuff in your community.
No doubt. And I know you do a lot in the community because I've been out there with you. I've seen you doing stuff. Do you have anything going on with the climate now? Like, do you have any programs, camps going on that you've done like in the past with the community outreach or anything?
Right now it's trying to morph a little bit. Obviously with COVID, you can't get in person the way you would. So the mentoring stuff that I was doing with one of the programs, that's kind of fallen to the wayside because of COVID.
Yep.
I'm actually in the process right now trying to establish my own mentoring program, which probably will start out in some sort of virtual capacity. Mm-hmm. But just trying to give back and show some of the youth out there that a lot of them, it seems as though they're in a state where they don't feel like they have anything to live for. Yeah. And I'm only making that assessment based on observation on things that are going on, mm-hmm. things that I saw when I was coming up in different inner city communities. So just going out there and say, hey, there's another route. Yeah. There's another route. Because right now, within the inner city, it's set up for them to fail. Right, yeah. It like this setup, right? That we have this whole operation for you to fail, mm-hmm. And if you don't know anything other than that, or not exposed to anything other than that, then the stats say you're going to fail.
Right. So coming up in Jersey, what's the difference between, or your vision of the difference between the kids coming up now and when we were coming up? I mean, you grew up on the East Coast, I grew up on the West Coast, so I know it wasn't easy for you. Yeah. So tell me like how you managed to do and get to the level that you reached despite all those obstacles.
Yeah, and it's funny, we mentioned it before. So being born in New Jersey, and I spent all my summers there, but I actually moved to Denver in grade school, mm-hmm. so got a little bit of feel of the West Coast flavor, a little bit. Yeah, everybody you ran out of LA, they went to Denver. Yeah. But so I got a feel for a little bit of what the West Coast flavor is about, and then also obviously growing up out in New Jersey, and especially in the summertime. But man, I chased the heck out of the basketball, man.
Yeah.
That was kind of my outlet. Yep. From the chaos and the craziness, yep. and the stuff that was going on around me. I will say I also had a tight knit family in terms of what my mother was able to do for me. I lost my father at 11 years old, so my mother was my rock. And when I lost my father, I had to grow up really pretty quickly. I had a 2-year-old at the time. My brother was 2 years old, so I quickly became his father figure. And then I think I had some older cousins who were positive influences in my life. They were doing things the right way, and but yeah, I mean, there were a number of times throughout my youth where I could have taken another turn and not be sitting here with you today. Yeah, I could have taken another turn. You obviously could have taken another turn, and fortunately, we found the positive way out.
I would say that the lack of social media when we were growing up probably saved us too.
Yeah,
I mean. It's kind of like crack to these kids now. Mm-hmm. And with your 2 children, which I know you're doing a wonderful job, you did a great job. They're young adults now, but how did you seem to manage the tearing them between the two, like this, school life, home life, family life, and the social media presence, because it's huge out there. So how did you manage to separate that from them?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is, obviously you and I, we didn't have the social media growing up, but we had some other challenges, right? There's going to be something else out there for you, but the social media piece is just a whole nother animal that the kids are subjected to right now. But man, it's just continual conversations, man. It's just continual conversations, continually staying in your kids' lives, seeing what's going on. You're not going to be able to have your influence on every single thing out there, especially when they walk outside those doors, and if they're involved in extracurriculars, that's a whole nother subset of issues or friends or exposure. So just continual conversation, just seeing what's going on in their day, genuinely caring about what's going on in their day. Yeah. Sometimes as a father, we're like, hey, I'm here to provide in the end.
Right.
I was taught to provide, or whatever the social imagery out there is, the man is supposed to provide and nothing else, because I know a number of people who that's what they do. They provide, and They don't know what the kids.
They don't know their birthday.
They don't know the kids' birthday. They don't know what they had for breakfast. They don't They don't.
They're out there.
They just don't know.
Giving, yeah.
They're just like, I know. Here's this financial support. The end.
Yeah.
And then and that's on. That goes both ways too. So I don't necessarily want to put it all on the father, but just we just wanted to just stay engaged all the time, regardless to what's going out there, whether it's just your friend group, whether it's stuff going on in the classroom, social media. That's just a whole nother animal that you can't really monitor, especially when they become young adults like mine. You just hope that you did your job along the way and then continue to coach them up as they go through it.
They definitely did a good job. I know little Ed has his own little thing going right now. You want to talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, I will. So obviously the social justice is a hot topic right now, which I'm incredibly ecstatic about.
Right.
That it is. I think it's long overdue. Hopefully we can continue to keep this momentum going. I think that society has in terms of just recognizing what's going on. And I've talked a number of different times with my kids about stuff that's going on, and both of them. Little Ed and Kiara are both there just, fed up with it, right? And in their young age, they're already fed up with it. And I think to your point, it's because of social media. Right? They're able to see this stuff all the time throughout the day. So with that frustration, my conversation with them has always been, okay, I get it. I'm pissed off too. Like I'm tired of dealing with this. I'm tired of seeing it. I've lived it for 42 years. I'm tired of seeing it and dealing with it, and now it's at an all-time high. I saw something the other day. Hate crimes have jumped like some ridiculous percentage in the last 3-4 years.
Right.
I wonder why that happened. But but
miraculously,
yeah, exactly.
Last 4 years.
Yeah, like that's insane. But that's sickening. But the point is, I'm like, all right, we're all pissed off about it. So what can we do now? Yeah. How can we be of value to the community and try to make some sort of change?
Right.
We can all only stay in our lane and do but so much, but what can you do? Because just us sitting around complaining about it and
it doesn't change.
Yeah, it's not going to
affect anything.
So his idea was, he's a big outdoorsman, as you know.
Yep.
He loves to fish. Right now, today, if you ask him, hey, you want to go play ball or go fishing? He's like, let's go fishing. Right. So, and he's a scholarship athlete, but he still wants to go fishing. So you were good. Can you hear me all right?
I can hear you. It's just cracking up
a little bit. Yeah. But that's good there.
Yeah, probably just snag a wire or something.
You feel good about that there?
Yeah. No, we're good.
Okay. All right. So make sure you can still hear me. But so the conversation turns to, okay, what can we do to provide any type of solution? So he started an idea of what he's calling Journey for a Cause.
Yep.
Right, Journey for a Cause, and what he wants to do and what he's going to do. Actually, I was talking to him about it on the way in here. He's trying to sort out some different details and logistics. He's going to take a boat from southern Indiana all the way down to Navarre Beach, and it's all in interest of
Navarre Beach is where?
In Florida. Yeah, in Florida. Yeah, yep. So he's gonna do that, and he really wants to try to engage a diverse group of people. He knows that outdoor activity is not popular or a cool thing necessarily in the inner city.
Yep.
In the Black and brown community. So he wants to try to create some engagement there, create some programming, create some other opportunities for those that just don't even know that these opportunities are out there.
Yep.
Or they're just kind of there's just not. You're encouraged if you're in the inner city. You and I both know, it's either we're gonna put this basketball in your hand, we're gonna put a football in your hand. That's all that's what you do.
Right.
And if outside of that, it's weird that you do that. He actually had one of his middle school coaches tell him that he was like, man, you're some type of hybrid.
Because he wants to fish.
Because he wants to fish. Because the guy was so.
He was programmed to thinking that he was just going.
Yeah, he just gonna hoop,
play sports.
That's it. Yeah, that's all. So that, and I don't know that he necessarily meant it in some malice, any malintent.
A lot of people don't have malintent.
Yeah, you're just ignorant.
Yeah, that's ignorance.
Yeah.
And you don't. We shouldn't give passes for ignorance.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? So
yeah,
it's
an opportunity to coach up.
Mm-hmm. But what he's trying to do is put a boat in lakes, right?
Mm-hmm.
And go into different areas and expose his way of living to people who normally wouldn't see it, or expose himself to people who normally wouldn't see people like him in that experience, right?
Exactly right. Yeah, exactly right. It's twofold. Yeah, so definitely, so we can kind of eliminate some of the stereotypical, ideas that are out there. But again, also just trying to provide some other opportunities and engagement with the community that just otherwise wouldn't be engaged in it.
That's a great idea, man. Especially coming from a young mind like that. Yeah, but that's just that just shows the work that you're doing.
No, I appreciate it,
which is dope. I wanted to get into your NBA career a little bit. When you were in high school and you were going to college, you went to Weber State. What made you choose Weber State, and at what point did you realize that the NBA was going to be a real thing for you?
Yeah, that's a good question. So I'll back up a little bit. So I went JUCO first.
Yeah.
Fresh out of high school. And then the coach that I had my freshman year, he ended up getting a job as the associate head coach for Weber State after my freshman year. So he went up there. I ended up transferring to another JUCO my sophomore year, but right at the beginning of my sophomore year, I signed early with Weber State.
Yep.
Because I had such a great relationship with him. The head coach who was there at the time, I really liked him. I thought it was going to be a good fit for me. One of my teammates that I played with, we decided we were going to go together, and it just worked out. And that was something that we just wanted to pursue together. And as far as me kind of realizing that the NBA was was a legitimate opportunity, it was probably right around my sophomore, junior year. Like my sophomore year, I was a junior college All-American, and the names on the list were like Steve Francis was another junior college All-American. So people recognized that name in that same year. And I'm like, well, all these guys getting all this kind of pub.
He was like,
I got a shot.
He was like, I can give them work.
Yeah, exactly. So and I've always had the mindset of like, shoot, I'm 6'1" and unassuming, and went to Weber State, and obviously when we go and play some of these other bigger schools, everybody would tell me about how this guard or that guard is so great, and it really just annoyed me more than anything else. So I used that as motivation, and man, and I was never going to be outworked. Like, so that's the key. That was the thing for me. No matter what level I was on, that's that part of the game is not happening. You're not outworking me, and I know that if I do that, I'm only going to get better. Correct. So, So like I said, in between my sophomore and junior year, that's when I realized I had an opportunity, and it worked out well. And actually, one particular game that really kind of put me on the map was one of my teammates. We ended up beating North Carolina my junior year at Weber State, and one of my teammates he scored like the highest mark in first round and second round. He had 36 against North Carolina, and then came back and had 34 against Florida the next night. So our senior year, everybody was coming to see him. Right. Yep. And I had solid games against them too, but they came and saw him in one of the games. I had a huge game, and from that point on, I was
on the radar.
Yeah. So
that's what's up.
That's kind of how I got on.
Then you ended up in Indianapolis.
Yeah.
So did you get drafted by Indy?
No. I got here. It was actually going to be I've been playing for too many teams, but I played for Portland Trailblazers, which was my second year in the league.
Okay, yeah.
And I was a free agent after that. Then the Pacers signed me to a 2-year deal after that.
Right. So in the league, who was your favorite teammate? Who was your favorite teammate or favorite coach to play for?
Favorite coach, I would say, was probably Mo Cheeks.
In Portland.
Yeah. Mo Cheeks was he was great. He was great. I really enjoyed playing for him. Probably second him, Scott Skiles up in Milwaukee.
Okay.
Completely two different people.
Yeah.
Right. So that's the funny thing. They are two completely different people. Yeah. Mo Cheeks was super laid back. Gave everybody the latitude to play their game. Super laid back. But held you accountable. Scott Skiles was like super hard nosed. He's a hard nosed dude. But all he cared about is if you just going as hard as you can the whole time you're out there.
Right.
Yeah. He didn't care about anything else.
But that's how he played too.
Yeah.
Yeah. He played that. Yeah. That's how he played.
Exactly. So I would say probably those two guys were in terms of coaches. Teammates, there's too many teammates to think about to pick one.
But I know you probably got a Let me see. We're in Indy, so you probably got a crazy Artest story.
No, plenty of them.
Everybody got that. So what will be your craziest Artest story?
Well, shoot. I mean, everybody saw the brawl.
Yeah, well, yeah, that's the one everybody saw.
So yeah, exactly.
But I want to know the one that we didn't see or we never heard about.
Right. I don't know. I think there was an overwhelming theme with Ron is just you just didn't know what was next.
Right.
Like you didn't know what was going to happen in practice. You didn't know what's going to happen in the game. But I tell you what, the time I played with him, he was by far. I thought he was the best wing in the game at the time. Like
he was an MVP candidate.
Oh my gosh,
yeah, for sure.
Yeah, man.
Before the brawl, I mean,
yeah, he was letting everybody have it
on D and offense. Yeah.
Oh my goodness,
yeah.
He like that was when LeBron had just gotten to the league.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my gosh, he made LeBron look like his little brother. Like, let me take you under my wing.
Yeah. I mean, he was the real deal. Ron was the real deal. I know I had a funny story when, for some reason, I was up north and I was going to Target. Mm-hmm. And I don't know what I was doing. I don't know if I was visiting somebody, but I was going to Target to get something. And I'm in the parking lot. And I see this big ass dude just in the parking lot pushing a cart into where the carts go, stall, cart corral. And I was like, oh, then I said, that's Ron Artest. So I get out the car and I'm walking in, I look, and he's going and getting another cart, putting in a corral. And then I just lit, I'm like, is this dude about to clear the whole area? He put all the carts in the corral just on a normal day. I was like, that's Ron Artest. Like, that's what he was. I mean, I don't know what made him do it, but he put all the carts in the whole lot into these carts.
That does not surprise me. I'll tell you one thing about Ron. People don't realize, like, obviously everybody sees the brawl and they think, oh, Ron is some complete lunatic and this, that, and that. That couldn't be further from the truth. Like, Ron to sit down with you and have the most civil conversation.
Cool cat.
Yeah, super cool. Right. So, and a lot of people just don't know that about him because you see, you know, the brawl, or you hear some other story where, you know, he was in some sort of altercation or whatever someone brings up. Half the time the stuff's not even true.
Correct.
You know, but I will tell you is, like, he just hanging out with him or just on the bus or in the locker room.
Yep. You
know, he's just cool people.
Yep. Mm-hmm. When the time in the league ended for you, and you had to decide that time was up. Well, you went overseas as well, though.
Yep.
And so you extended your career that way. But there had to be a moment when you decided that the NBA was no longer an option, and you had to make a decision to choose a career beyond basketball. What made you go into financial planning? That's what you do now. So let's talk about that little transition there, mentally, how you were feeling in, like, when you were playing and you knew that was coming to an end, and how you decided this is what I'm gonna do.
Yeah. So I just back up a little bit, I guess, in my playing career. While I was playing, we all hear about the horror stories about guys mismanaging their money or making poor decisions or going and doing this and living life just frivolously, just completely doing who knows what. So some of that is out there, right?
Right.
But what's not talked about is the number of positive stories that are out there where guys are being responsible, taking care of themselves, taking care of their families, getting outside of basketball and have other business ventures and other opportunities. Those are not amplified at all, right?
Right.
And there's more of those than there are guys making poor decisions.
Mm-hmm.
But we obviously, as a community and society, we want to just latch on to the negativity and just hang on to that as much as possible and throw a blanket on everybody. Everybody's doing that.
Yep.
So, you know, I was thinking about it then as I was playing, and you know, had my own successes, my own failures, and my own mistakes, and thinking about, man, how can I be a resource? How can I be able to help you know, guys out in this capacity? So I thought about it a little bit then. And then when I very first retired, I started my own basketball training business, because I also had a great passion for working with kids.
Yep.
and coaching and training and skill development, because I think there's tremendous life skills associated with the game of basketball.
Yep.
So I started that, and within that, a guy who had his kid in my program, he was in the industry. I started, you know, became friendly with him and just hung out with him and talked to him a few different things. Went to a few different events with him, and before you know it, I'm like, yeah, I'm going to do this. I'm going to go pursue this. And so that's how that kind of came about, how that whole thing just kind of transformed for me.
Yep.
But it's been good. It's been really good. And
so it wasn't really on your radar to be a financial planner or financial advisor. Like it kind of just laid in your lap. Like it was an opportunity, and you went out and went and achieved that.
Exactly.
So what does it take to become a financial advisor?
Well, there's a lot of you got to go back to school. And in my position, I think I don't know, when did I retired? I was 34, 5, 6, something like that. But anyway, I graduated from Weber State in 2000.
Yeah.
And I didn't study for anything again for the next.
So you had to go back to school.
Yeah, I mean, to some degree. Yeah, so it was. So you got to do that. There's certain certifications that you have to go through, and to make sure. You can't just say, "Hey, I'm a financial advisor." Just start, just start soliciting business like that. There's certain things certain steps you got to take, and overall, that's just it. There's a number of different certifications that are out there that you have to go and attain, and there's endless amounts that you can get, but some are just mandatory.
Yeah.
So I had to do that, and yeah, that's kind of how it happened.
Yeah. So when in that position, being an athlete. And then you have people who actually went to school to do this. That you have people who went to school for money management or accounting or things like that. How does being an athlete affect you in that world? Does it help you? Sometimes it might hurt you.
Yeah, I think overall from an industry standpoint, they say that they actually from an industry standpoint they do a lot of recruiting of former athletes. Also service men and women, folks who have served in whatever capacity they've served in. I think they look for the intangibles of it, right? So I think just about and we see this all the time. People who go to school for 4 years, 5 years, 6 years and they achieve some degree in whatever field. The next thing you know, they're doing
something completely different.
Something completely different. We see that all the time. So you can be trained up to do it, right?
Yeah, right.
It's just, do you have the intangibles, right? Do you have the professionalism? Do you have the communication skills? Are you going to go out there? Are you going to go out and work work your tail off? Can you get through adversity?
You still need an athlete's drive and determination,
correct,
to do the job. Which being an athlete, I think helps most people in life. Period. Just being a part of a team and an individual's own motivation to help a team. Pretty important.
Yeah, that's what goes back to those life skills I was talking about. When you've played a team sport, you don't necessarily have to be a professional athlete,
right?
Obviously, if you've gotten to that point, you've hit the top of the mountain, but and you had to do a lot of different things to get there. But there's still life skills even there, and even in youth sports.
Right. I want to go back a little bit. You talked about starting your own training business. It was all out, right? And I had an opportunity to coach with you, and sitting with you on the sideline, I witnessed a guy who was very passionate about coaching. I mean, you really have a lot of charisma on the sideline, and I always wonder why you never went into actual real. To me, it was really coaching. You were really coaching. We did a lot of coaching. You did a lot of coaching, but why didn't you ever pursue coaching?
Yeah, that's a great question. I guess it kind of goes back to how I ended up also pursuing the financial services industry in the position that I have now. It allows for some flexibility. To some degree, I set my schedule. You have to work it for sure. You have to work it. But if Little Eddie Gill had a game, I was at their game.
Right.
If they had they needed to get a ride to wherever it may be, and my wife couldn't make it happen, a lot of times I could make it happen. So it allowed for some flexibility. Coaching does not allow for flexibility.
Not really, no.
So if you're a high school coach, that's a difficult job, right? If you're a collegiate coach, that's a really difficult job, right? That one may be the hardest one of them all. Depending on if you're an assistant or a head coach. There's some argument, if you're a professional coach or not, but that's a round-the-clock job. That is a round-the-clock job. There's significant travel associated with it. And as much as I love to work with, especially kids and the youth, and I would thoroughly enjoy a collegiate job. I could definitely see myself really enjoying working with those young adults, right? And some of them sure have professional aspirations. I would really enjoy being able to help them get there, or at least showing them what it's going to take to get there.
Right.
It's not for everybody.
Yeah.
But hey, here's what's required.
Yep.
So I would definitely enjoy all those things, but the things that it requires to be great at it, and I wouldn't do it to just be average.
Yeah.
But to be great at it, you got to really dive in. And you got to completely dive in, and then you.
It consumes a lot.
Yeah, it's just gonna be sacrifices made. And
Yeah.
At that, and I just haven't gotten to the point where, and I don't think I will, based on where I am in my career now, that I'll get to the point where I'm like, okay, I'll give this coaching thing a try. Not only on that level. You and I did the AAU basketball, which, which was consuming enough. But
Very fun though.
Oh, we had an incredible time.
Incredible time. Got any funny stories about us coaching?
About us coaching?
I do.
I got one.
The timeout.
Yeah. And you got a phone call, and you had some crazy ringer. What did you have? It was some song. I wish I call my. I can't remember who.
I can't remember the song.
What song was that?
Oh, it was an intense timeout too.
Yeah, I was jumping on them about something.
Getting on them bad.
That was, they were happy when you were there, because they would relieve them from my antics.
Oh man,
I wish I could remember the song though.
That's important to the story.
Yeah, that's key to the story, because otherwise only you and I are laughing about it.
Oh man,
I can't remember, but anyway, yeah, that was a good one there. That was definitely a good one.
So, a day in the life of Eddie Gill. What's up with the Nike thing? You do the Nike tournaments for Indiana, right?
Camp.
The camp.
Oh yeah, that's once a year. Well, COVID this year we didn't do it.
Didn't do it,
but
I saw you did some online.
Oh yeah, they were just trying to provide something.
Yeah.
Because typically that's a huge turnout, and we've had a lot of success with that. Like, just to give the people some background. It's a Nike camp I've been doing for the last probably 5 or 6 years.
Yeah,
maybe more. Week-long camp. And then we have, like I said, we've had great turnouts, and this year, because of COVID, they've obviously put that on the back burner. But we did do some sort of virtual experience.
Oh, okay.
So it was me demonstrating a drill, send it out.
That sounds fun.
Yeah, exactly. Right. Exactly. I had little Ed and Karen doing it too. They were like, "Dad, what are you doing?" But so they had. So anyway, we did that, and you would submit it. The kid would see what I did, or actually, I had the kids doing it too. I was recording the kids, had them do the drill,
right?
And then they'd try to go do it, and they'd load it back into the system, send it to me. I'd give them some feedback. So
dang, that sounds like a lot more work.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So
COVID also stopped you from doing your Fox gig, or kinda.
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, it shut down the NBA.
You did radio, right?
Yeah, it shut down the NBA obviously for a few months, and then they went to the bubble.
Mm-hmm.
And then we did that remotely down at the field house.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and it was construction down there too at the same time. So that was a whole nother ball of wax trying to navigate that space down there.
Yep.
But so we were able to still do it, but it's just obviously not the same. And
how did that opportunity come about too?
Yeah, and I would say that one came about more so by my engagement with the Pacers and doing different community initiatives.
Right.
Doing a lot with them in the community. And I never really pursued it. That's another one of those kind of careers that I kind of thought about, because sometimes, we see athletes all the time. They just immediately segue and try to get in there. But
well, you're well spoken. I mean, you got a face for radio.
Oh, man.
Like, see, like,
exactly.
Do you think that you're gonna do more in that? Can you do more with that?
I'd probably manage it the way it is right now if I can. I really enjoy working with the Pacers. I think they've been a great organization. They've been good to me, and to your original question, they reached out to me and said, "Hey, would you want to come do some TV with us?"
Okay.
And I'm like, "Okay,
Yeah.
right." Okay. And originally when they first did, the kids were still in high school, and I'm like, "All right, well, here's the deal. I have an actual job,
Yeah.
and then also my kids are playing sports. They're here, and so the days that the Pacers have a game,
Yeah.
and the kids have a game that same day, I'm going to go to the kids' game.
Yeah.
And I'm also not going to travel."
And they didn't have a problem with that.
And they were like, "Okay."
Dang.
So, I mean, it was I was really fortunate, and they, like I said, they were great with me then. The kids have gotten older now, and they're in college now. So, they did talk me into traveling about 2 years later.
Yeah.
So I did, and that's on a marginal scale. I don't do a whole heck of, I don't go to all the games and that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
At least when I was doing it, before the shutdown with COVID. But so yeah, that's kind of how that happened. It just I think just being around the organization and still doing different things, and the TV people found out that I was still in town, and the position came open, and they asked would I be interested in filling it.
That's what's up.
Mm-hmm.
With everything going on and everything being shut down, do you have anything in the works for when things open up? I mean, earlier we talked about trying to get back in the community and things being hard. Do you have anything on your mind? Because I know you and I have conversations. I know you do a lot with your job too. Your job now does a lot of like kind of outreach things. Like, what do you have planned? Like, how can I help you help someone else?
Sure. Yeah, I think right now the one thing that's on the forefront is really just trying to figure out this mentoring program. And obviously I was going to reach out to the immediate network about, just trying to have some positive figures in that program and being able to communicate with the kids and that kind of thing. So definitely that's something that's kind of in the near future. At work, I'm on our Diversity and Inclusion Council.
Yep.
And, when the George Floyd situation happened, the council, we went into complete overdrive in trying to at least just educate the Northwestern Mutual network of people with town halls. We've had speakers come in, a number of town halls. Like I said, we've had a couple different speakers. So we just went into complete overdrive in terms of just trying to educate our company in terms of what's going on, what has gone on for a number of years. So continually doing that.
Do you see a difference in the workplace? Do you see a difference in the mindset? Do you see a perspective change?
I would say yes, just from an education standpoint. Tangibly, it's hard to say. It's too early. In terms of tangible changes and mindsets and thought processes, it's hard to say from that perspective. But 100% within our meetings, the people that are involved in our meetings, there's been a shift. There's been an unbelievable shift in that, in what they think and what they thought.
Yeah, that's good.
There's been a shift, and that's all we can ask for. And I don't, the stuff's not going to change overnight, but if we can go out and touch one or two, and they go out and touch one or two, then before you know it, it's better for our grandchildren, our great grands, and so on and so forth.
Yep.
Not that I wish that either one of us have grandchildren.
We don't need none of that. Don't say that, brother.
Right.
Well, it's the awareness that's important. A lot of people were unaware, and the George Floyd situation kind of brought awareness to a lot of households. COVID helped that to happen.
That's right.
A lot of people talk about how 2020 is a terrible year, and it's terrible for who? I mean, I think that 2020 has opened up the eyes of a lot of people, and a lot of activism has started in 2020 because people were cooped up and forced to look at things happening right in their face that they didn't accept before. So, I mean, I think it's awesome that your place of work is out there trying to bring this to the forefront, and bring it into the faces of people who probably didn't recognize it before or believe it. Because I even get that now. People didn't believe that it happened.
Yeah, no question.
They didn't believe it.
They're like,
some people still don't.
Right. Exactly.
They don't believe it is real.
What it is, everyone, like you said, initially just didn't believe it, and now that we're seeing this stuff being recorded time and time again, there's some people out there that say, "Oh, those are just one-offs."
Right.
That's not happening on a regular.
Yeah.
Oh, it's happening on the regular.
Yeah. Because a video camera is not always available.
Yeah.
You know,
Correct.
it's crazy, man. But we gotta do better.
Mm-hmm.
And reach one, teach one is pretty much the most simple thing you can do.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and being educated on laws and policies and things like that, and having conversations that are difficult with other people. We have them, and we're in the same situation pretty much.
Right.
But we have to have these conversations with people who don't look like us,
Mm-hmm.
and they have to be willing to accept that the truth it hurts sometimes.
Right.
But we're about to close it up now, and I have a question, kind of off the cuff, and it would be if you, Eddie Gill, was stranded on an island, and you had one CD, but it played one artist's complete work. Who would that artist be?
Wow, that's amazing. That is amazing.
So this is the rest of your life too. So
Yeah, that's
you
all I
listen to
got.
one artist, rest of your life.
The first one to come to my mind is Biggie.
Oh my God.
I know you hate that too.
He got 2 albums. Like you go.
Oh, you see, you clearly this is what happened when you out there out west. You didn't get all the underground love that you should have got. You know what I'm saying?
So you're saying his body of work, Biggie, you're gonna keep them songs. That's like
or Jay.
30 songs.
If I want more songs, I'll go with Jay.
Okay, go with Jay. You're gonna go with Jay.
You gonna make me change my mind?
You did change your mind.
No,
You went from Biggie to Jay.
You didn't appreciate.
But you stayed on the East Coast.
Definitely,
And you stayed in hip hop.
I'm definitely gonna stay out there. Yeah, man.
I'm going Prince.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going Prince.
No. Enjoy yourself. You by yourself? You by yourself on this island?
Yeah, you by yourself.
Oh my gosh. No. I can't.
Oh, you say if you ain't by yourself, that changes it?
Yeah.
Oh, you got the wife with you.
Yeah, okay. She ain't gonna be just trying to be dealing with Jay and Biggie the whole time.
So you got your family. What you gonna do? Disney? Like what you gonna listen to with the kids?
My wife gonna get outvoted. We still bowling with Jay and Big.
All right. Well, if people want to get in touch with you, or if there's anything that you have that you want to talk about, or you want anybody to know about going on, this is your moment to shine. You got anything you want to talk about, or you got anything in the works?
No, nothing really. Other than my work.
Yeah,
my work.
Social media.
Yeah.
What's your social media?
Man, that's a great question, man. I think my Instagram is for Eddie Gill.
Yeah,
and I think my Twitter is Eddie_Gill4.
All right, you guys heard it here.
That's it. And I'm on LinkedIn. For the business folks out there.
OnlyFans.
OnlyFans.
Are you on OnlyFans?
What is that? What is that?
You don't need to know.
Oh my gosh. Why is the whole studio? Why is you?
You don't even know what it is. You so old, dog.
I don't.
That's amazing. God. Oh God. Well, this is gonna conclude Follow D Money podcast. Stay tuned. Next week it'll be a special guest. We have no idea.
That is so